Hey folks, how's it going? Today I wanted to share with you some of my favorite tools for game development. Now I've worked on very large AAA teams like Call of Duty and Fortnite, and also very small indie projects like my game companies No Stranger and Do Animals Dream. Very small two-man projects. These tools are actually going to be useful for that wide breadth of work. It is the case that on most game projects, you're going to be using custom tools. However, these tools are useful no matter what project you're going to be working on, and I continually take them with me, from studio to studio, and sort of it's helped to familiarize myself with these tools. They're always relevant, and it doesn't matter the team size. So hopefully, there's going to be something in here for you, no matter what part of the industry you work within. So here's my list. Let's jump into it, and I'm just going to start working down this list. Also, I am listening to the lo-fi stylings of Mr. Chillhop Beats' Minecraft video. So I'm hoping that is not copyright protected because it's the Minecraft music. So we'll see how that goes. If I get flagged, I get flagged. All right, here we go. My tools. So the first one is the Windows OSD Hide speaker bar. So what this does basically, there was a new version of Windows that came out, Windows 10, I believe. And now that version will show you this icon in the top left of your screen whenever you pump the volume up or down. I'm not sure if I have it installed right now to show you that. Let me see how I would do that. I guess I do function. Okay. I think I'm doing it right now and it's not showing up. Basically, this would show up in the top left of your screen with this new Windows version. And I hated it because I'm constantly using the top left of my screen because that's often where all the menus and the file edit menus are and drop downs and stuff. I just think it's so asinine that you'd have some sort of UI on top of your screen, but there's a way to get rid of this. Okay. Oh, what the hell is this? I'm like zoomed in to something crazy now. All right, whatever. Let's just delete it. So basically, if you just here's a link to the tutorial. How to get rid of the Volume OSD feature. That's what it's called. And I literally install that tool on every single computer I'm working on because I hate that little pop-up when I'm just trying to toggle like the sounds for Spotify or something like that. And now, I don't think this is even in the list, but let me. Oh shoot! I was gonna try to hold it up, and now I think I've knocked it over on my desk here. I use this thing called the StreamDeck. It is absolutely essential to the kind of work I do. Here it is, StreamDeck. Check this thing out. So what this thing does is you could basically program these buttons to each do a different thing in your computer, and so I could show you what my interface looks like right now. So some of this stuff is pulled over from my actual day job work, but just for example, so you can see the kind of stuff that I do. I could push, one of these buttons to go to a particular. All right, I can't actually. Let me do it on another screen just to see if there's anything too sensitive here. Okay. All right, so I can't really show you that. But what I can show you is that, I use these bottom buttons for Spotify, and, this can quickly switch what song I'm on, toggle whether or not it's being played. I could also change the volume through here, and I have quick links to my maps folder, my, basically this is like my compiler, and different tools like Outlook's calendar and Outlook emails. So it's really nice. It's almost like you've got like a toolbar, but in front of you in physical media. And there's a lot of other tricks that I use it for as well, such as if I want to quickly spawn in an enemy, instead of just having, whatever the debug command is, you could either memorize the debug command, you could map it to one of your keyboard buttons, but even better is just to have it as like a little picture. So if I'm playing a game where, let's say I'm making a game where you're fighting clowns, if I want to just spawn a clown by pushing the clown button, that's so easy to remember. I just have to click the little icon, and then one of them spawns in front of me in the game. So that's an example of something I use all the time. The StreamDeck is great. I don't think it's on this list, but it probably should be. Let me add that. StreamDeck. All right, so the next thing is called Void Tools Everything. Now, some people use this tool called Agent Ransack, which basically does the same thing, except you got to pay for it. It may have a few more features for power users, but I think Void Tools is Everything is one of my favorites. It looks like this, and basically the way that this works is it has an index of every single file on your computer. So it's tracking literally everything, and you could just type in the name of a substring of a file on your computer, and it will instantly tell you you know, where that file is located. So for example, let's say I want to find a file called Breach Buddies. Then I can now see that, okay, here's a bunch of folders called Breach Buddies, and here's an executable called Breach Buddies. This is super useful, especially when you're working in a large coding environment. Maybe you've got multiple repos synced on your machine, and this will help you navigate to basically a file no matter where it is, and it's super fast. I love this tool. Now, I use a separate tool for actually searching the contents of files. That tool is just for searching the file names. I use... Okay, well, this is something else. I'll show you that in a second. I use a different tool called WinGrep. Let me see if I have it installed on this computer. WinGrep, what is it called? GrepWin, maybe? Yeah, this one, GrepWin. So what GrepWin does is it searches the file contents for every single file within a directory. So for example, I'm in some project I made once upon a time. I'm in the scripts folder of that project. I can do a text search, and maybe I want to find, you know, maybe I want to find the exact location that I did a comment with to do on it. Let's see, have I done that in this project? Yes, I have. So in all the C# files, I have to do statements, and it found that like instantly, right? It's extremely fast. I love it. And you could even refine your search further. But this is super helpful for me, especially I've been doing this all the time in my day job, because at id Software we use a lot of different files, and those files might reference other files through just the use of a special string, right? So if I'm making a game about clowns and I want to refer to everything that's using the red nose clown, it would be really hard for me to figure out which files reference red nose underscore clown. But if I just type that into here, I can instantly figure out all of the different files that have that. And unfortunately, none of the project I'm currently working on doesn't have anything related to the red nose clown. But in the case of in the case of other projects, that's really helpful. I really can't underscore enough how valuable this tool is. And again, I think Agent Ransack can do something similar. So if you're using that, you could use that. I tend to prefer the open source alternatives. I know sometimes corporate legal teams are a little bit like allergic to open source software, and I can understand that sometimes, but I think these tools are really good. And I think actually at one point the company I'm currently working at, the legal team had banned void tools as everything. They were like, yeah, you're not allowed to use that. And then all the engineers started using it, and then I didn't use it because I was like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble. And then I realized everybody was using it, so then I was like, oh, I guess the rules changed, and now I'm going to use it. So it is what it is. Here's another tool really cool called Space Sniffer. I highly recommend this tool. Let me just set it to run right now, and then I'll tell you what it's doing. So if you're moseying around a computer, you've probably seen this screen before, okay? What this shows you is basically how much of your hard drive is free. It shows you how much free space you have in memory, right? So for example, I've got 227 gigabytes out of about 1,000 gigabytes. But what it doesn't tell you immediately is what is taking up that space. It just shows you this directory, and a lot of there's another add-on that I've used previously that shows you the size of all the folders through like a recursive size index. I don't have that installed right now, but there is a tool that does that. However, it's still very difficult to tell basically what is taking up all the space. You know, if I'm using up almost more than 2/3 or 3/4 of my computer, what am I missing? And that is what this tool does. What we're looking at right now is a special kind of diagram called a tree map. And it basically shows you what is taking up the most amount of space on your computer. So I can see, for example, that Epic Games is taking up this whole section, and big portions of that are Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Auto Chess. It's a little bit small on my computer, so hopefully it's big enough for you to see. But for example, those are games that I don't even play. I don't think I've ever played either of those games. So it's probably a pretty good indicator of like, oh shit, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on here that I don't even use. And you could just click it to go deeper and to understand what's inside of it. So you can see, you know, what part of Tony Hawk. Okay, so part of it is the MOV section and part of it is the park section. And then here's all the different sections of that. I can go to my documents folder and I could see, you know, what's taking up space there. Tabletop Simulator is taking this up. And again, it's only like halfway searched through my computer, but this is amazing. A lot of times I help out people who are having computer troubles. My friend Scott in particular, I've helped him a few times. And it's always just useful to throw this program up and actually figure out what's taking up all the space. I love this tool. There's a few others like it, but this is the best. Okay, the next one is called Speccy. Now, I was introduced to Speccy at a previous company I worked for. That's Speccy. And what it does instantly is it tells me all of the stats for the computer I'm working on. So it will tell me basically, you know, not too detailed, I think, but it will tell me all the different graphics cards that I'm using, the storage capabilities. It's a really quick way to get an idea of what the internals of your PC look like. And I think it's the fastest way to do that. It's a very competent program. And I'm not really a hardware guy, so I don't know, like, even reading it, like, whether or not it's good or bad. I just know, you know, bigger numbers usually better, right? But it's like, it's very useful to instantly see all this information, especially if somebody will say something like, you know, what are the specs you're running or whatever it is. They want you to run DXDAG or whatever it's called. This is a very useful tool to have on hand. All right, what's next? Dark mode Chrome. Okay, I love this tool. What this tool does is it's the ability to enable dark mode on any web page. So if you're like me, you might code in an environment where you prefer a darker screen. Okay, that's very common for coders in general. And the issue is that, you know, you might be able to customize the environment color scheme of tools like Sublime and whatever visual editor you're using. However, when you get down to, you know, actual websites like Google, if you didn't have this, you'd just be looking at like a big white screen when you got here. You know what I mean? I guess I'm not able to demo that. I don't know why. Maybe Wikipedia will show me. Wikipedia. Okay, so yeah, so this is an example, right? So Wikipedia, it's really bright. It's burning my eyes. You can go to dark mode, and if you turn it on, I had it on already, it'll just instantly dark mode any website. It's amazing. I love this tool. I think it's great. It's an extension in most web browsers. I'm using Chrome right now, and it works for Chrome fine. I haven't really had much issues. One thing I have noticed, actually, is sometimes images, if I paste them into Google Docs, they will become inverted. You know, when you have those, like, cursed images with, like, the inverted color scheme, that does happen sometimes. So, for example, if I've got this little picture and if I take a little snap of it, we might see that the colorization gets kind of fucked up. So I just copied that guy and I'll paste it here. Yeah, so you see how it's like the colors are inverted now? So that does happen sometimes. But other than that, it's great. All right, they're like talking right now in this music. Let's skip through that. Okay. Cool, so that's dark mode. Use it all the time. It's great. The next one's VLC. VLC is definitely the best video player on the market right now. It's amazing. It's open source. I mean, I think we're at a time right now where, like, a lot of these open source things are just going leaps and bounds over any of the even paid projects in some cases. We're seeing that right now with Blender and Audacity, which we'll touch upon later. It's kind of amazing how strong a lot of these open source programs are. And what's nice about open source is, you know, you're not going to have to pay for it. You know, there's a lot of good things about open source. Okay, so what do I love about VLC? Well, one of the best things about VLC is, let me see if I can find a video really quick. Hold on. All right, so here's a video of Escape from Tarkov I recorded previously. What's great about VLC is I can instantly, with a button, increase the playback speed. So I can push this video up to... Here, I'll get to some gameplay. I can push this video up to like 3 times speed right now. That's super easy to do. I'll go back to 1 time speed now. The other thing you could do is you could do frame by frame. Now I don't exactly remember how to do that. I don't do that a lot, so I don't have the keys bound. But there's a way to also go frame by frame, which I forgot right now for some reason. But that's also very helpful. And it's fast, and I also really appreciate, this is sort of a little feature down on the bottom left here, which you can't see because I'm hiding it. But this feature right here will actually let you increase the volume to 125%, and I love the ability to kind of go over 100 right now. I actually just downloaded this program called FX Sound. I downloaded this literally today, so I can't endorse it. But this allows me to pump up my sound way beyond the default, and I really appreciate that. Partially because I actually, this is kind of personal, but I actually put my sound output through through like a physical hardware filter that prevents me from getting buzzing in my headphones, and that dampens the sound a little bit. So it's nice to be able to bounce back from that. Okay, where were we? Let's keep going through. So that's VLC. The next one's Audacity. You probably already know about Audacity. It's used everywhere. Everybody loves Audacity. Basically, what you could do is quickly record audio, and you can edit it, and you can cut it, and you can do all these great things with it. It's just a really clean interface for editing audio. It's like the Microsoft Word of audio. It's great. It's really great. Whenever I'm recording myself playing guitar, I constantly use this. For all of Tony Hawk's Existential Nightmare, which is a musical, I recorded all the musical tracks using Audacity. And what's great about that is you can very easily have somebody just replace a certain line or section from the whole song and, adaptively blend between them. It's also very easy to turn any audio into a looping audio, which is common in video games. So that's all quite easy to do through Audacity. It's a great tool. Okay, the next one is quick access renaming. So I actually use quick access a lot. This is a sort of special feature of Windows where you can paste a folder sort of to the left of your Explorer window. And there's a way for you to rename that so that it has a sort of a name that's easy for you to understand. Let me change the song a bit again. I'm not liking any of these. All right, we'll go back to this one. So this is great. I use quick access a lot, frankly, and it's useful because a lot of times you want to quick access a folder that has sort of a shitty name. Like, so in this example, they're quick accessing a folder called 2019, but you might not know what does that 2019 refer to, and you could rename it to like accounts-2019 so that the bookmark here is easy to understand. So that's what this tutorial is. It's basically just showing you how to rename the quick access shortcuts. All right, this video is kind of annoying me now. I feel like lo-fi sometimes. All right, let me find a new song. Hold on. All right, you may not be able to hear this at all, but now I'm listening to chilled tunes from the slowed Minecraft music that calms your mind while it's raining. Great video title. Okay, so what were we talking about? We were talking about quick access renaming. Let's keep going. So the next one's called Visual Assist. This is a plugin to Microsoft Visual Studio, which makes Visual Studio much better. Microsoft hates this plugin. I remember I interviewed there one time, and I was like, "Oh, what about Visual Assist?" They hate it. They think it's like a replacement for their software, and they're like offended that they weren't able to do it well enough that that this third-party studio needed to come in, which I think is so funny. I work at Microsoft now, actually, and it's probably, I wonder how much they don't like that all their teams are using this replacement. But basically, the default search tools for Visual Studio are terrible. They're really bad, especially for a very large project. And so what Visual Assist does is it addresses that issue. Because when you're working on a code base as big as like Call of Duty, if it's a little bit slow over thousands and thousands of files, it becomes very slow. So Visual Assist is basically a full-on replacement for all of search functionality for Visual Studio. That's primarily what it does. There's other tools as well, but that's primarily what people use it for. I do not have it currently installed for indie work. I think the pricing for solo developers is a little bit prohibitive for me, so I've never actually bought it. But then again, when I'm using my indie projects, I don't have the huge sprawling code bases that are a necessity to have this for. So on my indie stuff, I don't use it. For my AAA stuff, I do use it. Google Chrome is my preferred browser of choice for pretty much everything. I've noticed sometimes there's been a few times that I've updated and it's been super slow. And then, like, I recall that happened maybe like a year or two ago. And at that point, I just switched over completely to Mozilla Firefox. And then at some point, Chrome got its shit together and it started moving fast again. So then I switched back to Chrome. So I like Chrome. I like Firefox. I guess I have a preference towards Chrome, but I think both are good. Let's see what happens with the Adpocalypse situation right now with Chromium. If you're following that, we'll see what goes on. And if Google Chrome decides that all ad blockers are prevented, then I'll probably go back to Mozilla because I definitely use a lot of ad blockers. So it is what it is. The next one is called P4VS. This is, I mean, it's funny because like with Git, there's so many different visual interfaces. There's GitHub Desktop, there's Bitbucket, there's SourceTree. My preferred Git desktop client is definitely SourceTree. I think it's really good. It looks like this. And what's really good about SourceTree is it has beautiful visualization of the different branches. Now, I'm working on a personal project typically where I'm the only committer. So I'm only on one branch, so you really don't get a good visualization of what that's like. But if you're on SourceTree branch biz, if you're on a big project, let me see if there's any screenshots of that. Yeah, it kind of looks like this, and you get pictures like this where you have a really good idea of like how it's branching between the different, how it's, going between the different branches. It's really, really good. Much better than a lot of the other client options. And I used to use GitHub Desktop because that's like the default one, right? But it's really not very good. This one is so much better. You're gonna thank yourself if you start using SourceTree, and it's free. I use all of my hosting through Bitbucket. I've used GitHub before. I've used GitHub, but I don't think it's very good, and I think it's also much more expensive. So yeah, I typically don't like GitHub. I like Bitbucket. Git is okay, but Git in general is, I think, a very bad source control option for video games where you constantly have to use very large file sizes. In fact, the truth is you really can't do large file sizes in Git. You have to do the add-on, which is like a particular extension of Git called Git LFS, even to support the large file sizes. So that is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, Perforce makes so much more sense for game development. And we could talk about the ideology and semantics of that at another time. But if you haven't used Perforce for game development, you probably should. If you're a solo dev, doesn't matter. Okay? If you're in a team of more, it doesn't matter. The number of people doesn't matter as much as whether or not multiple people are working on the same thing. So if you're like a 2-person studio, let's say you're a 100-person studio, but only one person ever has to edit the scene. You may be, I don't know. I think it'd be foolish to recommend you use Git really in any case, but you're not going to run into problems with Git unless you have multiple people editing the same things. And then as soon as you do, you need to move to Perforce because that is going to save you so much sanity. It's very easy to go crazy using Git. Perforce is much more sane, but their documentation is also very bad. So you've kind of got to learn it on your own, and that could take a while. So this is Perforce, and it's the best. It's the best version control client I've ever seen. However, it's like it's hard to learn. Okay, there's a serious learning curve, but it is definitely better than Git. So I would say P4VS for Perforce, and then I use SourceTree for Git. And then with SourceTree, I use Bitbucket for my hosting. And then with P4VS, I actually do hosting on a AWS server. Okay, for Google Docs, I constantly use Google Docs as my working log. So in general, when I'm working, I like to log every single day. When I come into work, I log what am I going to do, what are my goals, and then what are my accomplishments at the end of the day. And I use Google Docs for the last few years, and it's great. What I would recommend though is that you always use Google Docs, putting your new entries at the top. So this is a little counterintuitive, right? So normally, I'll just show right here because I'm in a Google Doc right now. Normally you might do like day 1, la 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 la, right? Day 2, la 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 la. But the problem is once you get to day 99999, right? That could be on like the 7th page of the Google Doc. And Google is actually pretty slow at loading the Google Docs, especially if you have images. So scrolling all the way down to day 99999 can take a minute, which is insane, right? You can't tolerate that. So instead, what I do now is for all of my Google Doc logs, I write them like this. And this is actually something I do for almost all of my logbooks now. I write it inverted so that when the new entry comes in, it's always at the top. And I mean, that's just how it is. When Google needs to load a doc constantly, it always loads it top to bottom. So you don't have to wait very long before you could start typing it to day 9999. So little pro tip from someone who uses Google Docs every single day. Okay, here's 2 tools, which I think are both very good. One is called Toggl and one is called Rescue Time. I did a different video specifically on these called Unity Time Tracking, so you could check that out on my channel. But what Toggl does is it allows you to sort of opt in to working on a task and having your time logged for that. What Rescue Time does is it's the same thing, but it's not opt-in. Rescue Time automatically detects what programs are active on your computer so that it can tell you what programs you were using for how long. It basically, it's like AI Toggl, okay? Sometimes that's better. I think, personally, Rescue Time is better because it's automatically tracking stuff. And then I just have, if I'm using the same program for like 2 things, I just have to tell it whether or not that was related to one project versus another. If, for example, I have 2 Unity projects, it's just going to say, hey, you were in Unity. It's not going to tell me what project I was on, though I think there's ways for you to extend it so that you can be more specific. I typically, actually, I have my own time tracking tool for my indie game dev, so I've kind of moved beyond either of these tools, but I use Rescue Time for a while, and I think it's great. The last, okay, so the next thing is called the Wallpaper Engine. This is a way to get really nice, interactive 3D wallpapers for your desktop. It's basically a game on Steam that you run, and then it will have really cool wallpapers. Let me see if I can get one up for you. All right, so this is actually one I'm playing now. It's just like a seascape, and very subtly you could see like light shining through the bottom here. And so this is just one example. There is a lot of things you could do with Wallpaper Engine. Let me find some. So really cool wallpapers. And again, they're all like moving, which I like. So you can have like lots of cool art in the background like this. Look at this guy. And so what I like to do is I like to take like a video or a GIF of the game I'm working on at my day job and just have that going in the background. So if I was working on Starfield, maybe I'd have something like this. And yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do at my day job. At my work computer, I don't really have anything going on. But what's really cool is you could also interact with some of these things. So there's some wallpaper stuff where you could actually push buttons and they will react to your mouse cursor and stuff like that. Very cool. This one's one of my favorite. I love the caustics of the water. It's so pretty. Okay, so where were we? Let me find where we were. Here we go. All right, so that was Wallpaper Engine. The next one here is, what is this? So this is actually a custom cursor pack, and I use this. So all my cursors are now from this guy, and he has a great YouTube video where he explains it. It's called Mouse Cursor History and Why I Made My Own. I would recommend watching this video and I actually adopted his cursor pack. I think it's great, and it's a lot more. And I love the little like rainbow loading screen and stuff like that it does. But he's got other ones that are black and white and more minimalist in design. Lots of cool stuff. So that's what I use for my cursor pack. I don't think I have that on my work computer installed. Maybe I should, though. The next one here is called Disabling Windows Sounds. So this may be more of a tutorial than it is a tool, but it's common in game development for you to have crashes. And at least in my work PC, I was going a little bit crazy because Windows, whenever there would be a crash or whenever I would trigger an assert and it would throw me back into Visual Studio, it would give me like a big Windows sound like or whatever it is in Windows. And that pissed me off so much. I was like, how do I just disable this shit? And I found this tutorial. It's been super helpful for me. And it basically turns off every single default sound from Windows. And that's what I've done. I've turned off every single sound. So if Windows wants to show me a little pop-up or some shit like that, I don't get any audio for it, which I appreciate. Because I'm the kind of person who hates the little Slack notification sound. I hate that. I disable that immediately. I don't want any sounds in my working environment. I want pop-ups. So I get a little pop-up that says, hey, you've got a meeting coming up, but I don't get any sound because it's easy to ignore pop-ups, but for me, it's not easy to ignore sounds. They really get in the way of things. So that's just how I like to work, and this tutorial was essential for me to kind of get that ideal work environment. Okay, and then finally, I just have a bunch of quick tools here for audio video conversions. So this first one is called speech to text. This one is great. What it allows you to do is you can upload a file. I believe you could upload a straight video file and it will give you the transcript of the video. So that's been really useful if maybe you're doing a tutorial in the work environment and you want to have a quick transcript for people to refer to. I think that's great. Unfortunately, it does not auto add time codes, which I think are a pretty important feature to have. So that's kind of too bad. But it's one of the best conversion engines I found. And then there's this tool, which is very well known, called Handbrake. And it's got this wacky icon of, what is that, a margarita and a pineapple or something like that? But Handbrake is by far one of the best open source tools I've ever used. And what it does is it can convert from basically any video codec to any other video codec. So if you've got .wav and you want to convert to MP4, that's what this does. It's great, and it can do very powerful things. This is an amazing tool, and it's a great tool. I don't know if it does audio to video. I mean, I don't know if it does. I think it does audio to video and video to audio. So you have that functionality as well. Of course, if I'm just downloading a YouTube video, then I pretty much just download YouTube to MP4. And I'll just click whatever the top thing is. You know, it changes all the time as these different websites get banned. But I just click whatever the first thing is, and that typically works for me. What else? I downloaded a custom app recently, an Android app, because I was in Spain and I didn't have access to YouTube recently. And I found this is a sort of a banned app. Okay, so you may not be allowed to use this app, but there's an app called Tubemate Download. Okay, is this it? Let me see if this brings me there. Okay, this website looks very scary. Okay, this website also looks very scary, but this is the app that I use on my phone. And what this allows you to do is download YouTube videos. When you don't have an internet connection, you can play those videos, and it has a really nice interface to do that. So I don't know if this link is, a Trojan horse or something, so watch out. But this is the tool that I use, and it's amazing. So that's what I use for offline video for YouTube. That was great because I was in Spain and I was constantly out of Wi-Fi area, but I wanted to watch YouTube videos, and it allowed me to download them and then watch them. So it was great. I've heard really good things about these virtual cables from BB Audio. I don't use this, but this is a tool that's always been on my list because people always say it's great for doing virtual cable work. What is a virtual cable? A virtual cable allows you to reroute output audio as input audio. So you could do something like, have the audio that's coming out of your computer for a certain program be the input for your voice or something like that. There's a lot of cool things you could do with that. And I think that's it. Okay, and then this is the time tracking tool I mentioned before. So this is the time tracking tool I wrote for Unity, and I use this basically all the time now. So that wraps it up. Those are all the tools that I use in my day-to-day game development. I would love to know if you use different tools, or if there's a particular tool you want to that you're interested in, or you're looking into currently. I think the tools are a huge part of the work. So I really appreciate learning more about how to improve my workflow through adopting new tools, and in some cases, building my own where there's no option. So that's about it for today. Like the video if you enjoyed, and let me know what you'd like to see in a future video. I'd appreciate that. Bye.